For Britain, the same stability, come rain or shine, come R101. At Ascot, the crowds as always, the show of fashion, the moment of splendor. The world might change, but some things always stay the same. At such functions, you would find, of course, the royal family, King George V and Queen Mary. But royalty did have other duties to fulfill. A Prince of Wales, in Wales. For those beset by economic affliction, a word of comfort, a word of encouragement. Misfortune brings unity, and there, in the depressed areas, by unselfish communal effort, they learned much about living with one's neighbor, much about trying and working what we now so blithely accept as the welfare state. But the cold blast was anything but spent. On Clydebank, locked gates, and the lifeless shell of a ship. The biggest ship in the world, but just called Cunarder 534. It was only much later, when financial backing was restored, and she was completed, that she was properly named the Queen Mary. And the world shipping slump brought its compensations. To keep their liners in commission, companies inaugurated the first, but the very first, cruises. Some advertised rates at only £1 a day. Cruises were one long party, with the added attraction of visits to foreign ports and places that otherwise you'd never have a hope of seeing. Suddenly, ship's officers found themselves compares in one endless variety show, organizing deck games, swimming galas, and beauty contests. It was enough to make the ancient mariner turn in Davy Jones' locker. For romance, truly a happy hunting ground. Not for nothing were shipping bureaus termed Cupid's agents. Yes, for £1 a day, it was certainly a full life while it lasted. A new era, one of progress, light, excitement, and show business rising to new sparkling heights. When you paid your money, the entertainment you found seemed worth every penny, whether you dressed for the stalls or hung over the gallery rail. A world of Mr. Cochrane's young ladies, of variety as yet hardly scratched by its death struggle with the newfangled talking pictures, full bills with plenty of talent, shows, express and non-stop with stars like Francis Day.
Women! I wish there weren't any women.
If there weren't any women, wouldn't end your clothes.
If there weren't any women, I wouldn't wear any clothes.
My caveman.
Then Beatrice Lilly and Lupino Lane.
It is 14 years since we were wed. I remember the day. You are not listening, Napoleon.
And amid the streamlining, still the sureness and competence of the old school. Sir Gerald du Maurier in a scene with the future Mrs. Ronald Coleman, Benita Hume.
Oh, yes. Send round to Bell and Croydon. Tell Bell and Croydon they must get their prescription made out earlier and delivered at Queen's Gate at 9:15. They'll tell you it can't be done, but tell them it's got to be done. Oh, by the way, remind me the first thing in the morning to speak to Arthur Hensby. If he insists on doing that operation, he's crazy. That's all I got to say. As for you, you're nothing but a damn little fool. What's the good of kissing a man on the top of his head?
In contrast, the long-running While Parents Sleep, a comedy considered very frank, modern, and symbolic of the new era. Its dashing blades, young Mr. Hugh Williams and young Mr. Jack Hawkins.
Nonsense, it's not a man, it's Neville. Oh, for heaven's sake, don't shout, you'll have the whole house down. Drink this. And what, might I ask, is the big idea?
Just forget her out of the room. I can explain everything.
Oh, you will you? Well, do you think she looks in a fit state to go to bed? Damn lucky she didn't pass out. Most girls would have done.
Well, I can't tell you now. You get her to bed. I can explain everything now.
What's all the mystery about?
Yes? The Catherine Peace is here, too. Oh, I've been there all the time, listening to everything we've been saying. I should like you to know that I had no intention whatsoever of eavesdropping. And if it's any consolation to you, I can promise that with two exceptions, every word you've said shall be banished from my mind and never referred to again. Oh, what are the two? One, that I have a magnificent body. And two, that I will spring up in the morning and order some black sheep. Oh, wait.
Daring and modern, the keynote. Off with the old and streamline. Yes, especially if you were young, it seemed a wonderful world. Economic storms, they'd pass. International rivalries, oh, they'd pass too. They must, for this was the new era of peace and reason, an era in which you could sit back and view it all objectively. Faces in the press and on the newsreel screen, most of them only too familiar with the same old, rather sickly smiles. Nothing changes. But with these other faces, not quite so familiar, the faces of rather strange, upsetting people who spoke darkly of rights to be wronged and master races, the strength and glory of war and the cowardly weakness of peace. In such modern times, rather comic, really. Characters just naturals for comedians to make use of.
I say, oi, you with a funny titfer. Would you like to hear a funny story? It's great, it is. It's about a bloke up a ladder with a do it, and they're on top of this ladder, and they're both, I beg pardon, going to do what? This fella thinks I'm a contortionist.
The first of the 30s, a new and wonderful world. One in which, for only £1 a day, you could live like a lord, sit back, enjoy yourself, and plan ahead for that rosy future.
We planned a rosy future, of what it held in store. But now he finds the future is rosy with the girl next door. And I sigh, I cry, I'm bluer than blue. And now I hear they're going to marry in a week or two. He used to sign his letters, I'm yours forevermore.